This takes place after I've installed the new display unit. I can't remember if I said in a previous video, I wasn't entirely happy with the inductive pickup one, which actually looks identical. It's this one here. So I've replaced it with a shunt based meter display unit. It looks completely different. It's got a completely different GUI on it, slightly different functions, and it's a little bit of an issue with this particular installation. Not a serious issue, but I shall try and explain. The other unit is an inductive pickup. This inductive pickup on the battery positive wire. Now my BMS uses a negative input as its charge wire, the positive being fed straight out the battery and straight to the fuse box and then out to the various bits and pieces. The relay is here, and this is switched on the negative. Originally I switched this on the negative because it charged through a separate input. What I didn't want it to do is when you turned the output off, I didn't want it to stop charging. So that's how it worked, and because the original monitor unit used an inductive pickup on the positive wire, it would sense both input current and output current, so it would be able to monitor both. But the negative is bypassing the shunt because it's coming through its own little blue wire into the battery pack. So I can't tell how hard I'm charging the batteries. Whether that's a problem, I'm not too sure. I would like to be able to monitor how much I'm charging. So I don't quite know a way around this particular issue if I'm going to keep using the blue wire. What I'm going to have to do is to run my charge controllers through here. That way the shunt will monitor it and it'll just charge the cells sort of up the wrong way. I don't think it'll hurt the batteries. I don't think it'll hurt the BMS. It's just not something that I'd even thought about when I installed this system. So I'm just going to do some experimenting. Let me just set up and I will just show some experiments. Currently the display is showing 0 amps with a little minus sign. Now when you apply current up the wrong way, the shunt, so charging the cells, the minus sign disappears. When you're discharging, the minus sign appears, which makes sense. So what I've done is I've got my bench power supply set at 18.8 volts, 18.7, and it's punching out nearly 2 amps, 1.96 amps. I've got an inductive meter on the output to the MPPT, and that's showing, if I can just get that, 3.12 amps, 3.13 amps. So the MPPT little light is on. So currently this is pushing 3.1 amps or so into the batteries, but of course this meter isn't analysing it because it's going the wrong way. So let me just fiddle with the wiring and we'll try a different way. Right, now what I've done is the bench power supply is still outputting 197 amps at 1.97 and 18.9 volts. It's going into the power plug here, which is just lashed together with some croc clips, and I've disconnected the little blue wire there which goes into the charge port on the BMS, and I've now linked it straight with a crocodile clip to the battery, the shunt at this point here. So it's going into the shunt at this point here. Now on my display it's now showing 2.9 amps, so it is now charging the battery at 2.9 amps. Now the battery voltage is creeping up very slowly, so I know that's working. What I also know is this MPPT is turning my 18.9 volts at 1.97 amps, 1.96, 1.97, to 10.93 volts at 2.9 amps. So it is doing some kind of current increase. It's not a real MPPT, it's actually, I call it a pseudo MPPT. It just seems to hold the panel at around 18 volts or so, and then uses that to increase the current. But you'll see that the battery voltage is creeping. It's just jumping between 3 and 4 now. So it is working. So it appears that I can charge the batteries in this way and get this meter to read correctly. How hard I can charge them, I guess time will tell. But how I had it set the other day, I thought my solar panels had gone wrong. Strange, because all of them can't go wrong. Although the little lights on the MPP charge controllers here were glowing away quite happily, I wasn't getting any current, and it took me, well, overnight to think about it really, and I've now discovered that that is the issue. So for the time being, I'm going to now charge this via its battery negative cable, and that is how I'm going to leave it and see if something bad happens. I'm kind of guessing something bad won't happen, but we never know. It's all exciting stuff. But what I do know is I can now monitor how much current I can charge via that particular shunt. So if you find this sort of stuff interesting, keep watching. I'm bound to revisit this on several more occasions.